How do some people get super filthy rich while others don't? Do they have something special? Do they know something that most other people don't? Maybe. Is it luck? If you ask a friend who is super rich or a family member who is super rich and ask them, how did they get so rich? They might say, I came to the right country at the right time. My parents helped me out. I went to the Ivy League college. Was it luck? Not everybody, right? But majority of people who make lots of money, okay? Lots and lots of money. I'm not talking about $1 million here. I'm talking about lots of money. Luck somehow played a role, okay? Now, what about the rest of the people, okay? What about people who are not that lucky? How do you become super wealthy, super rich without getting lucky? Can you do something that's gonna make you luckier if you were not earlier? We'll talk about that in this video. It's a topic discussed by Naval Ravikant. I'll talk about him in a bit. He discusses a set of rules that you can follow in order to become super rich without getting lucky. I think he's talking about if you do these things, I think you'll get luckier, okay? He says how to get rich without getting lucky, but I feel like if you do these things, you'll automatically get luckier. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in this video. Let's go. Now, before that, let's go ahead and talk about who is Naval Ravikant and how did he come up with this concept of how to get rich without getting lucky. So Naval Ravikant was born in Delhi, India in 1974. He came to the US when he was just 9 years old to Queens, New York, and he has been a part of early investor for household companies like Twitter, Uber, and etc. Now, right now, and he's mostly known for his work with AngelList as well. It's a site where startups can go ahead and find their talent, or they can also raise funding as well. Now, if you have some money, you can also go ahead and invest as an angel investor as well. Now, a lot of people haven't heard of his name because he's popular, but not outside of this, venture capitalist, this startup, bubble, okay? He's super popular in this sector, this space. Now, recently, on a podcast, he talked about, how can people get super rich without getting lucky? Now, like I said earlier, okay, to get super filthy rich, you have to somehow get lucky. And like I said, you have to be born at the maybe right country, okay, right time, have those special parents who teach you a special knowledge, okay? All those things come into play. But can you really get super rich without getting lucky? So he discussed that in a podcast. The podcast is about 3 hours long, okay? So this is my attempt, and I'll do my best, okay? And this is my attempt to, pretty much condense that. I'll put a link to the podcast as well. And this is my attempt to condense that and give you a detailed version of it by modifying few things so it makes sense to you. So let's go and talk about how do you get rich without getting lucky. So we'll divide this up into 3 parts, okay? So first one is wealth, okay? What is wealth? What is money? What is status? We'll talk about the creation of wealth, okay? Why you should be focusing on wealth and not money or status. And then we'll talk about people, okay? We'll talk about what kind of people should you be hanging out with, okay? What kind of people should you be avoiding, okay? We'll talk about that on the second part. And last but not least, this is my favorite part. I'll talk to you about exactly what you need to do in order to get lucky, okay? Most people, you can do these things, okay? If you make these things part of your day-to-day life, you will get lucky, okay? Eventually, you will get lucky. So 3 parts: wealth, people, and what do you need to do? Let's start. So number 1 is wealth, okay? I want you to go ahead and seek wealth, not money, not status. Here's the thing, okay? Wealth is, most people, they are actually making money by renting out their time, okay? So pretty much you go to work, even if you work, even if you make $500 per hour, you're pretty much renting out your time. Think about it for a second. And where you want to be at some point in your life is the fact that, where, you own an equity of something, a business, a house, a real estate, something that's going to make you money while you're sleeping. You don't have to rent out your time in order to, make that money. That's the whole concept about, wealth creation. And, a lot of people, what they do is they also, despise wealth. They think, oh, I don't want to be wealthy. They have the word filthy rich. Oh, I don't want to be wealthy. But if you think of that way, you're never going to get wealthy. Okay. It's never going to happen. You have to accept that wealth is good. You could do a lot of good things for you, your family, your friends if you're wealthy. Think about it for a second, okay? You wake up in the morning, you go rent out your time, and then you come back home, and then, you're like, oh, I made money. Yeah, you made money by renting out your time for 10 bucks an hour, 20 bucks an hour, 50 bucks an hour, 100 bucks an hour, but you rented out your time, okay? So what I want you to do from now on is actually embrace wealth, okay? Wealth creation, okay? And how do you do that? You actually focus on building equity. For example, okay, I'm going to give you a real life example here. So let's say you go to work, okay? You have a normal job, okay? And you pretty much, at this point, you're pretty much renting out your time for money, okay? Let's say you make that money, okay? Instead of going out and buying a flashy phone every year, I want you to go and invest that money. Invest that money on, like, don't gamble. A lot of people gamble on stock market. Don't do that, okay? Instead, maybe invest into index funds. For example, VTI, VOO, okay? Those index funds, okay? You're pretty much owning an equity. Do that, okay? You could do that. You could also go ahead and buy a piece of property that can make you money. You could also go ahead and invest that money into, a partnership. Well, I'll talk about people later, but maybe you could invest that money somewhere that's actually going to, give you a return for years and years to come, okay? So wealth, embrace it. Money, you'll make money, but you have to invest that money into wealth creation. And last but not least is status, okay? A lot of people, so if you go to people's, Instagram or Facebook, you will see status. For example, CEO of this, investor at this. Don't seek status, okay? If you're seeking status, anybody can buy, status by paying money, renting that status with money. So focus on creating wealth, okay? And you can create wealth by owning something, okay? Owning something that's gonna work for you, while you sleep. So that was it. So number one is focus on creating wealth. And number two is people, okay? A lot of people fail, or get unlucky because, they pick the wrong partner for their business, okay? They invest with the wrong people. They hang out with the wrong kind of people. So who you hang out with, who you work with also has a big effect. I'm not telling you dump your friends, okay? That's not advice I'm giving you. But for example, let's say you are trying to start a new business, okay? You're trying to build wealth. Think about it for a second. Let's go back. Wealth creation, right? You're trying to find a partner, and then, you guys meet up, and then you guys talk about it, and the guy said, let's make a lot of money right now, right? And you ask him or her, how much are you going to be making? And is this like, how long is our goal going to be for? Is it a short-term goal or is it a long-term goal? If they say, let's just grab lots of money right now, let's get out of it ASAP, avoid those people, okay? Focus on people who have, long-term goals, okay? Long-term goals with, like, let's say, I want to be focusing on this long-term industry that's going to be around for many, many, many years. For example, I see a lot of people right now. And I'm not saying don't do this, but I see a lot of people right now, gambling in things like NFT and things like that, I'm not a big fan of those, okay? I'm not a big fan of those, okay? I want you to go ahead and find people who are in it for the long run, okay? Long run, and something that's going to be stable for years and years and years to come. Next 10 years, next 15 years. You're trying to focus on something that you can rely on for like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, or maybe your lifetime, okay? Do that, okay? And I also want you to go ahead and avoid pessimistic people. So people who are always like, oh, you can't do it, okay? Oh, you won't be able to do it. That's too much work. Avoid those kind of people, okay? Don't work with those kind of people. Always make sure that your business partner, they are honest. they have integrity, they are, they have energy. But best part is make sure they have some sort of, they're honest, they're transparent, they have that, that energy in them to drive them to do the right thing. Okay, you have to make sure you understand the fact that ethical wealth creation is doable. A lot of people think, the filthy rich, that thing, okay? A lot of people think that, to be super wealthy, you have to rob something, you have to do crazy things. Not really, okay? You can make wealth, in an ethical way, okay? But you have to pick the right people and the right industry. Make sense? Let's move on to the next one. This is my special part. Let's go. Hey, sorry for the interruption, but give me about 30 seconds. I'll let you on your way. So here's the thing, okay? I create these amazing videos just for you. Take a look at this, okay? I do all of this in my office here just for you. That's all I do. I create videos for you. But a lot of you guys have not subscribed yet. So if you're loving this content so far, do me a favor. Hit that red subscribe button. And guess what? It's free. It doesn't cost you anything, but to me, it means a lot. Let's go. Let's back to the content. So far, you understand the fact that, getting rich is not about, stacking lots of, fiat money or having that, status, okay? It's about wealth creation, okay? Wealth creation, like I said, it's all about owning equities, things that's going to make you money while you're sleeping. In order for you to do that, you have to give society, people, some sort of value. You have to create something, or you have to own something that's going to provide people with some sort of value. If you're brand new to this, maybe you'll come up with some sort of, some sort of product that's going to help people out. This product might not have been invented, but you'll invent it. People don't even know they need it, but you'll sell it at a scale and you'll get filthy rich because you created this company, okay? It's all about wealth creation. Second, you learned about the fact that, you have to learn to deal with people with long-term goals, okay? You don't want to, okay? If you're creating this partnership, short-term people, just cut them off, okay? You want something long-term. You want to be in an industry where you can play the game for the longest possible, not a couple of years, okay? Not like, a month or 6 months. You want to be able to play in it for like the next 25 years, next 50 years. You want to pick an industry that's going to be there for a long time. Now, last, okay, what do you do? What do you do after you understand these two concepts, okay? Number one is learn how to build and sell. Now, here's the thing, okay? So learning how to sell, okay? When I say learning how to sell, you're like, okay, what do I need to sell? Do I need to go work at a car dealership? No, not really, okay? You have to learn how to sell yourself. Keep in mind that, you have to keep in mind that, when people buy, okay, when people purchase from you, your company, okay, most people are buying not because you have to have a good product, of course, right? You have your product has to provide some sort of value, right? But they're buying because they like you, they like your story. You have to be able to sell yourself, that storyline, that product. How did you come up with it? What's the point? How is it going to help them? Okay, you have to learn how to sell. And when you're learning how to sell, think of it like this. Okay, most people, of course, they want to know your story. They want to know what they can get out of from that product. That's really important as well. So you have to learn how to sell. So if you're brand new to this, you might want to start off by picking up some sales book. That's going to help as well. Also go out there, talk to people, because that's the best way to understand customers, understand people. What is their pain point? Okay, so learn how to sell. That's going to be beneficial to you in every industry you go out to. For example, let's say you start a business, okay, it fails, right? But guess what? You learn that skill. You learn how to sell. Now, if you have that skill, you can apply it to pretty much anything. To the next business, yeah, you can apply that right there as well. That's something that nobody can take away from you, even if your business or even if your company fails out. Now, number two is like I said, learn how to build. Okay, now building, okay, you could learn how to code. Okay, if you don't know how to learn how to code, there's so many resources these days that you can watch videos on YouTube. There are training courses that you can access for free. You can actually access university, Ivy League classes for free as well. You just have to make sure that you can actually commit to it throughout the entire thing. Like, I don't know how to code, I don't want to learn how to code. Can you record an audio? Can you create a video? Can you write a book? When I say build, I want you to be able to build things, okay? Create things. It doesn't have to be a software. Software is easier because you can scale it without, too much work, okay? You can scale it up, okay? But you could create videos. You could write a book. You could you could create podcasts. Create content, create media from where you can, maybe generate, leads, and you can sell it to them, okay? Always be building, creating things, and learn how to sell. That was number one, okay? And number two is you have to learn what Naval calls a specific knowledge. Now, what is specific knowledge? Specific knowledge is not something that you can, buy a book and learn about it. Specific knowledge is something that you learn after like years and years of experience. In my experience, right, I have experience in biochemistry, sales, software. So to me, it all clicks at the same time. For me, that's my specific knowledge that I'll figure it out, okay? And I learned those things not because I read it somewhere. I learned it because I made a connection through my experience. So it'll take time. So you have to have some sort of specific knowledge. You might not get that if you're early on, but you will at some point. Now, number three, leverage. Okay, leverage. Now, if you want to build wealth, you have to have leverage. There are three kinds of leverage. Okay, so number one is labor. Okay, pretty much people renting out their time for money. Number two is money, capital, right? And number three is, media. Now, so number one, okay, let's talk about labor. So you have to have some sort of labor, okay? Like I said earlier on the part, people, you have to work with the best people. Yes, you need people, you need talent in your company, you need talent in your business. Number two is capital. Yes, you need the money, okay? Now, these two things are what Naval calls permission-based, leverage. You need to spend money to find the right people. You need to go ahead and show investor that your company is pretty good enough to get the money. But the third one, okay, media, okay, creating content. You don't need anybody's permission for this one. You could pretty much get a camera, an iPhone, whatever camera you have, get a mic and record it. And you can, pretty much put it out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and pretty much do it as well. For me, for example, me right here. So what I did in my early days was I wrote a book. I've written a popular book on lead generation called Evil Salesman. I wrote a book on chart patterns for stocks. Those things, I created it without somebody's permission. I just created it, okay, myself, okay. I didn't need anybody's permission. I did those things, and then people came, okay, because I provided them with value, and then I sold them on other things, down the road, because I gave people value. But for me to be able to create those, videos on Instagram, or writing a book, or creating YouTube videos just like this one, I don't need anybody's permission. I can do it on my own. Okay, all I need is a, camera, an audio, internet. You can do it. So Naval wants you to focus on creating. Of course, you need leverage, like, capital and talent. But if you don't have those things, start with creating things that can help people out. Provide so much value to people that you can scale it up down the road, okay? Now, last but not least is something called compounding, okay? So, the fact that, money compounds, but did you also know the fact that, if you keep doing the same thing over and over, you'll see results, okay? If you're fat, and nothing wrong with being fat, disclaimer, but if you're fat and if you keep running 10 minutes every single day, or avoiding carbs or things like that, you'll see a result, right? compounding effect. Okay, for example, selling something, building your email list, whatever you do, keep doing it over and over and over. Okay, what personally to me, right? This is my personal, personal thoughts. Now, to me, the last person standing, okay, is the winner. They're going to be the winner. For example, okay, when I started out on, building softwares and becoming a marketer, I had so many people who said, oh, they were going to buy me out. They said, oh, I'm going to beat you to the ground, things like that. But, I wish them the best, but it's been 10 years. I'm still here trying, doing what I can with what I have. Okay, I'll still go on, and and that's the whole point, is the fact that don't give up. Still do those small things every single day. That's gonna help you out. That's gonna help you grow, become better. Okay, because not just money, everything in life compounds, according to Naval Ravikant. I hope you enjoyed this, discussion on how to get rich without getting lucky. I'll put a link to the entire 3 hours, 50 minutes podcast on the description as well. But I went over pretty much everything that you need to know in order to, get rich without getting lucky. And I wish you all the wealth that you ever desire come to you. So I hope to, give that vibe to you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to, watch my other videos, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this. Thank you so much for watching.